I think you keep them together. I don't think they necessarily need anything new in order to win a chip. You keep Doc Rivers, you keep that coaching staff, you keep every single one of those players.
I don't think so. The Clippers were supposed to win the NBA championship this year, and they just blew a 3-1 lead in the second round. And I'm gonna be real with you, to me, there needs to be change. Even if it's a little change, there needs to be change. I'm posting this video 2 days after the Clippers lost to the Denver Nuggets in Game 7, and I'm gonna be honest guys, I'm still shocked that they actually lost. It kind of feels like we're in a different dimension or like a different universe than the universe the Clippers were supposed to win, because like everybody was saying they were gonna win the whole thing. But oh boy, Max Kellerman, Jalen Rose, Jay Williams, Draymond Green, Kevin Durant, you guys were all wrong. They all thought the Clippers would win the NBA championship, but oh boy were they all wrong. And I believe this offseason, the Clippers are going to be making some moves. Right now, the team is in the hot seat on what should they do. Should they rebuild? Should they bring new pieces? Should they trade their superstars? There is just so many options for the Clippers, and they just have to be smart. And what I mean by being smart is not trading away 10 future first-round draft picks for Paul George. I have a lot of respect for Paul George. He's the kind of player that you don't really hate, but from his performance and the value everybody expected him to carry, he was absolutely horrible. And if I were the Clippers, I would want to try to do whatever I can this offseason to make this team better, because from what we're all seeing, the Clippers aren't as good as we all thought. So in this video, we're going to be talking about the offseason for the Los Angeles Clippers, potential moves, potential free agents, and some potential trades they can make to improve their roster. No NBA team is perfect, and the Clippers as well aren't perfect, and there's just always room for improvement. So if you're a big LA Clipper fan and wants what's best for their future, this video is perfect for you. Kendrick Perkins previously just said that he believes the Clippers will rebuild this offseason. These were his exact words. The Clippers are going to break this up. Whether you like it or not, I heard from an inside source they are going to break this up. Although this quote was very vague and we don't know exactly what break this up means, potentially some big moves could be coming for the Clippers. But I'll be honest, for me as a basketball fan, I have to question it. The Clippers have no future draft picks in like the next 5 years. They have no cap room to sign any big superstars. So what does he mean by they're going to break this up? So to go against that quote, I don't believe the Clippers will break this up. I think they're going to try to improve and just make some small changes. Generally speaking, I believe the Clippers are a good team. They have a good coach of Doc Rivers, even though a lot of people say he's overrated. And the reason why their failure is at this magnitude was because their expectations were so high. But I do just want to give a little props to the Clippers. They had a pretty good season, ended up being second in the Western Conference, and honestly, if they won this round, they did have a good shot at going to the NBA Finals. And with that, I want to talk to you guys about why the Clippers were so good and why everybody thought they would win, and also areas of improvement for the roster. So talking about the Clippers' strength, it is pretty obvious. Their strengths comes from their superstars of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Most NBA teams don't even have one superstar, and this team has two. Another strength that they have is that besides Paul George and Kawhi, they also have other and multiple options on players that can score the ball. They had Lou Williams, they had Montrezl Harrell, they had 4 reliable options on that offensive scheme, and of course the addition of Marcus Morris and Reggie Jackson, it just gave them more depth. Speaking of depth, that is also one of their biggest strengths. They're one of the deepest teams in the NBA. And when it comes to defense, they had one of the best exterior defensive teams in the NBA. They had players like Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Patrick Beverley that can be a great on-ball defender to anybody in the league, to anybody, even LeBron James. But although the Clippers had all of these strengths, and from the looks of it on paper, they're unbeatable, there are still some rooms of improvement that ended up being their downfall. So going into this offseason, what the Clippers have to improve on are these things. They have to improve on their interior defense. They don't really have someone that can be a consistent rim protector, to be a presence in the paint, down the block. Zubac is okay. He's definitely learning and can potentially be that guy, but the Clippers still don't have that right now. I've mentioned this multiple times. They don't have a playmaker. They don't have a prime-time leader, a player that, can be a floor general, control the tempo at any given time. They don't have a point guard caliber player that could lead them to a championship yet. I believe the Clippers would also do better with a little bit more floor spacing, especially with players coming off the bench. Landry Shamet is pretty good, but they need more options than Landry Shamet. But the biggest thing that I believe the Clippers need to improve on this offseason is their chemistry. When watching their games, it just looked like this team just didn't have chemistry. Patrick Beverley also said it himself on multiple occasions that the Clippers need to work on their chemistry. They don't have that in the locker room, and of course it starts with their superstars. I didn't expect the Clippers to be, a one-minded team right away in this first season. They've came together. Last year, they had Lou Will and Montrezl Harrell as their main players, their captains, and that's what last year, they seemed like a team that had better chemistry. And of course, with Kawhi being their best player and not being a vocal leader, it's definitely gonna hurt that. I don't want to put all the blame on Doc Rivers on why they lost in the second round. Doc Rivers isn't the only one to blame. The roster construction of the Clippers just wasn't well thought of when it comes to leadership and floor generals. But I'll be honest with you guys, with the roster the Clippers have, and if they're able to build a strong chemistry, this team will easily be NBA champions. When talking about the coaching staff, a lot of people believe the Clippers will fire Doc Rivers, but 100%, I don't think that's the case. Doc Rivers is a very popular coach in the NBA. He's done great things in the past, and even though he's messed up a few times, the Clippers still believe in Doc Rivers and what he brings to the table. I believe Doc Rivers will stay and just use this experience to learn from it, because next year, if you keep the main core together, they're still going to be contenders. But when I'm talking about main core, I believe the Clippers on their must not trade list, must keep list is of course keeping Kawhi there as their best player and also keeping Lou Williams to be their sixth man. So we're going to be coming back to this fact later on, but now I want to talk to you guys about potential free agents the Los Angeles Clippers could target this offseason. In my opinion, the number one priority for the Clippers is to re-sign Montrezl Harrell, because this year he's becoming an unrestricted free agent. Montrezl Harrell won 6th Man of the Year this year, and of course he's going to be expecting a big pay raise from any team that could offer him the best deal possible. I believe Harrell, if he were to pick, he's not going to leave the Clippers, and if they can offer him a good amount of money, he'll probably resign. But recently, Montrezl Harrell has been linked to multiple teams. He's been actually linked to the Toronto Raptors. He actually just followed them on Instagram, and him going there could actually be a big possibility as well. The point is, I believe the Clippers keeping Lou Will and Montrezl Harrell as their 6-man options. I believe those two were a big factor to how well they played this season, and just is a big part of their energy, a big part of their culture. So bringing back Montrezl Harrell is going to be a big priority for them. I also believe if they could re-sign Marcus Morris to a pretty cheap deal, they could still be contenders next year. Marcus Morris could be a good factor off the bench or even start at power forward. He's a pretty good shooter and also can score mid-range buckets on a consistent level. He is a low-end 3rd or 4th option for the team, and I believe Marcus Morris would definitely try to re-sign with a team contending for a championship. But we're talking about other free agents I believe the Clippers could target. I believe targeting Serge Ibaka, Jeff Teague, and Goran Dragic would be a good move in the offseason. All 3 of these players are becoming unrestricted, and of course all of these 3 bring a factor to the roster that would help them and is what they're looking for. Serge Ibaka signing with the Clippers would be a great addition for interior defense and also a floor general, because Ibaka brings energy to the team and is a vocal leader. Bringing in Jeff Teague brings in a point guard playmaker who is an NBA veteran and knows what to do in clutch situations. And of course, we all know how great Goran Dragic has been this year for the Miami Heat. I don't know if he'll actually lead the Heat, but if the Clippers can target a player like him who can be a floor spacer, a playmaker, and also a team leader, a floor general, the Clippers will just have a better shot at a championship next year. There are so many free agents in this upcoming offseason that the Clippers could get for a cheap veteran minimum deal. There are players like Kent Bazemore, maybe Paul Millsap will take a big pay cut. You never know. The Clippers definitely need to develop their bench and get better players besides Montrezl Harrell and Lou Will coming off the bench. Maybe 2 more decent options. But just to summarize this free agent category, re-signing Montrezl Harrell is the #1 priority, and if they lose Harrell, go for Ibaka. I'll be honest, I don't really have a good trade package for you guys, only because I don't believe the Clippers will be trading away anybody this offseason. I just believe they'll be working on signing some cheap free agents that can help with their roster and building their chemistry. But if the Clippers do want to go the trading route, I believe trading Paul George, Patrick Beverley, Landry Shamet, and JaMychal Green, these are their best assets to trade away. Do not trade Lou, do not trade away Kawhi Leonard. The problem I've always had about Paul George being on the Clippers is that him and Kawhi Leonard, they're just too similar when it comes to their style of play. They're both two-way players, elite two-way players, but both of them need the ball in their hands to be beneficial, and also they both love to size up and dribble the ball. In a way, I believe trading one of them could help the roster. You never know, it might not, but if they do plan on going this route, trading Paul George would be the way. Some trades Paul George has been linked to is a potential Chris Paul swap, maybe a Blake Griffin swap. You know what? Paul George has been linked to maybe even Kevin Love, Andre Drummond. The Clippers do need interior defense and a floor spacer, a floor general. So honestly, I just wouldn't be surprised if Paul George gets traded. But overall, guys, this is what I believe the Clippers should do in this upcoming offseason. I believe re-signing Montrezl Harrell and also building a chemistry with Kawhi Leonard, that is going to be very important. Doc Rivers is going to have to step up and be more of a better coaching leader to lead this team to victory next season, because next year, the NBA will be more challenging with Kevin Durant and Stephen Curry back in action. But yeah, guys, I want to know what your thoughts. Should the Clippers rebuild? Should they blow it up? Should they trade Kawhi? Should they trade Paul George? Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. Or should they just stay put and just keep getting better together? But other than that, take it easy, God bless, and I'll see you all next time on Easy Buckets. Woo!